Hey ladies, this one is for the women who likely have been out of abuse for a bit and you're starting to kind of dabble your feet into the dating pool again. And you've done the work, you've done therapy, you've cried through the healing, you've put up boundaries, you've gone no contact, and now maybe you've met someone. And not just anyone, but someone good. Hi, Penny. But instead of leaning in, you find yourself pulling back. You feel anxious, you maybe second guess their intentions, you wonder, do you even deserve this kind of love? And I want you to know that I get it. Not just professionally as a coach who works with survivors every day, but personally as well. When I entered a healthy relationship after leaving a decade-long abusive one, I was plagued with doubt. For months, I kept thinking, this is too good to be true. He's going to wake up one day and realize I'm too much. I don't even trust myself not to hurt him. What if I ruin this? And even though my now husband was steady and loving and all in, at first I was the one looking for an exit. And I was picking apart little things, maybe creating distance, maybe questioning his kindness. It was a trap. None of that was true. It was just the trauma talking. My nervous system didn't recognize love that didn't hurt. It wasn't that I didn't want a good relationship. I just didn't believe I was allowed to have one. So if that's where you are right now, this video is for you. The woman who's done the work, dared to open her heart again, and finds herself self-sabotaging something real. Today, we're breaking down. Why do we do this? What's actually happening under the surface? And I'm going to give you 3 powerful shifts that you can focus on to stop pushing away the love that you do deserve. Because healing, it doesn't stop when you leave the abuse. Sometimes it gets even louder when love finally shows up. So let's get into it. When you've experienced narcissistic abuse, toxic love, or you are neglected emotionally, your entire nervous system becomes wired for survival. You don't just leave the abuse behind, you carry the hypervigilance, the self-doubt, the emotional landmines with you. And that's why when you finally meet someone who treats you with love and respect, it doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it feels terrifying. We want love, we crave safety, but when it actually shows up, consistent and kind, emotionally available, we freeze. And then we begin to question things. Is this real? When's the mask going to drop? What if I'm too damaged to love someone back the right way? This is especially true if the last person you loved broke you down piece by piece. Maybe they started off charming you and attentive, but slowly became cold and cruel and abusive. Your mind starts equating love with anxiety, inconsistency, punishment, or even performance. So when someone good walks in, your whole system doesn't trust it. I will never forget the first few months with my husband. Here's this man who's just solid, right? He's thoughtful, he's a clear communicator, he tells me he's not going anywhere and he actually means it. But instead of peace, I felt panic. I'd pick fights just to test if he'd really meant what he said. I'd ask questions I didn't need answers to. I remember crying over him washing my car before I took it anywhere because it felt so unfamiliar, so vulnerable to be cared for without condition. I had to unlearn this belief that love is earned by suffering, because the truth is we sabotage because we're terrified, not of love, but of losing it. We're scared of being betrayed again. We're afraid of softening only to be shattered. And that fear convinces us to push away the very thing that we want most. Okay, so let's get into the 3 things to focus on so that you stop sabotaging love. The first one, rewire what you believe you deserve. Let's start here. Your beliefs create your behaviors. If you believe deep down that you're unworthy, you're too damaged or unlovable, you will subconsciously reject any love that contradicts that narrative. When I first started dating my husband and he complimented me, especially on emotional things like I feel safe with you, or you're such a light, my knee-jerk reaction was to downplay it and make a joke. Why? Because my inner story still said, he can't really mean that. He just doesn't know the real me yet. I had to rewrite that inner script. Every day I began to write, I deserve gentleness. I deserve to be loved without being perfect. I deserve love that doesn't confuse me. Did I believe it right away? No. But the repetition planted seeds, and over time I started catching those old thoughts and I began to replace them. And here's how you can practice. I want you to write down 5 things you deserve in love every morning for 30 days. And when your inner critic pushes back, acknowledge her, but don't put her in the driver's seat. The second thing that you can focus on is pause the exit plan. Many survivors are masters of an exit plan, right? We don't even realize we're doing it. Emotionally pulling away, telling ourselves it's too soon, too intense, too good, reading into neutral moments as threats. And one night, early on in dating my husband, he didn't text me back for hours. The old me spiraled. He's pulling away, he's changed, he's going to ghost me. I almost shut down emotionally and I prepped for the worst. But instead, I paused. I asked myself, has he shown any actual red flags, or is this my trauma scanning for patterns? The truth was, he had simply not had his phone on him while he was working in the yard. My body reacted like I was back in the abuse. But I wasn't. I was safe. I just didn't know how to feel safe yet. So here's a tool for you. When you feel triggered, ask yourself, is this a red flag or is this a trauma talking to me? What evidence do I actually have? And if a friend told me this story, what would I say to her? You get to slow down your reaction. Safety gives you space to respond, not react. And the third thing that I want you to focus on is learn to receive without earning. Receiving love without guilt is one of the hardest things a survivor can do. We're used to giving love, fixing others, over-functioning. So when someone gives to us, we feel exposed, maybe under-deserving, nervous about the strings that might be attached to it. I remember the first time I got sick while dating Cliff, that I felt like a burden. He bought me soup and, he cleaned up for me and, he rubbed my back, and it was so uncomfortable for me to be cared for so deeply. And I kept apologizing and he kept saying, you don't have to earn this. What? It was overwhelming. You can practice this by starting small. Say thank you instead of, deflecting comments. Let someone do something kind for you without trying to even the score. You can accept help without apologizing. Receiving is a form of nervous system reprogramming. Every time you let love in without resistance, you're teaching your brain, this is safe now. So what does healthy love actually feel like? Let's unlearn the fantasy and get grounded in reality here. Toxic love is unpredictable. It has highs that feel like addiction and lows that feel like withdrawals. It makes you feel like you have to earn every drop of affection, and if you mess up, it's gone. But healthy love, it's steady. It's often boring compared to what you've known, but boring is safe. Boring is beautiful. And for me, the word boring used to have a negative connotation to it, but now boring is a good thing. So my old relationship had me constantly checking my phone, maybe afraid of what mood I'd be walking into. With my husband now, if he says he'll call, he calls. If he's late, he lets me know. There's no guessing. There's no decoding. It's just peace. And at first, That peace felt like emptiness. It took time to learn that peace is not nothing. It's everything I needed. Healthy love looks like communicating without fear of punishment, apologizing without manipulation, disagreeing without becoming a war, being your full emotional self without shame. It's not perfect, but it's honest and it's safe. And when you've lived through emotional terrorism, safe can feel revolutionary. And yes, at first it may feel boring, but it's only boring because chaos taught you to call anxiety passion. Once you heal, peace becomes the thing that you crave the most. If your new relationship feels overwhelming because it's kind, don't walk away just yet. Stay curious, stay grounded. You might just be experiencing love the way it was always meant to feel. If you're in this season where you're trying to let love in again, be kind to yourself. Don't judge your fear, but don't let it run the show either. You're not too damaged. You're not too late. You're just a woman learning how to breathe in safety after holding her breath for years. That takes courage. If this hit home with you, you can drop a heart in the comment and let me know maybe what's the hardest part about receiving love again after abuse. And if you're doing this work right now, if you're healing and unlearning and rebuilding your relationship with yourself and others, I want to invite you to check out my programs, both She's Up and Right to Heal. They're designed exactly for this kind of transformation, and I'll link them below for you. You're not alone. You're not crazy. You're becoming. I'm so damn proud of you. You deserve it, all of it, and I'm rooting for you.